All right, we are back with another edition of the Who You Got podcast, and the roars continued at Augusta as I don't even know what to say. We said Friday night. I said Friday night it was over. Rory wasn't going to blow a six-shot lead. Boy, did he. Saturday was rough. He gave it all back. Shot one over. He was one of very few people over par that day. Cam Young made a charge. And then Sunday, it looked all but over when he three-putted the fourth. And I said, my God, I cannot believe he's not even come in the top three. I thought it was done. And then we saw why Rory's great. And that's kind of my point today. We saw what makes this guy who he is. We all thought he was done. We all did. There's not one person out there who's like, oh, he's coming back from this. Not after that three-putt. Not the way he played Saturday, not the way he started Sunday. The fact that he wasn't hitting fairways. And then what did he do? All he did was come back. I mean, he showed why you can never count him out. He just takes the punches right in the face. He's been doing it forever. I mean, he's been the heartbreak, everything. And he said it a bunch of times yesterday. He went from no Masters to back. And both years, he had to overcome this adversity. I'm telling you, he played one pretty well hard. The fact that he walked off two with a par, I thought, uh-oh, this isn't good. He should birdie that hole 90% of the time on a final round the way it's set up for him. He got the birdie home at 3. Then the double came. Then he played 6 awful. And he bogeyed 6. And that's when he was 2 over for the day. To come back and birdie 7 and 8 and walk off that first 9 even par with the way he played, I said, all right, maybe. When he hit that shot on 12, I texted a few people, he's winning the Masters. I don't care that he's behind right now. He's going to win the Masters. That shot on 12 took balls. And I can't believe he pulled it off.
It was awesome.
What a tee shot on 12. And then on 13, he got the birdie where Cam Young couldn't. They both went for 2, but that drive on 13 could have been his best drive of the week. Now, his worst drive of the week is what made us all sit back in our seats real quick on 18. Thank God the golfing gods gave him a break, because that could have been an 8. That could have easily been an unplayable over there. And luckily, it got so far right. He fell out, had a little bit of an opening where he could get it to the front side, get it in where he could get up and down. And he could get up and down on 3. That's all he had to do. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but he's the 3rd best golfer of all time. And he is the best European of all time, in my opinion now. Forget Faldo, forget Seve. It's Rory McIlroy. And it goes, in my opinion, Tiger, Jack, Rory now, top 3 of all time.
Any opinion, Ryan?
I mean, the guy showed his championship medal. That's what I would say. I mean, it was, Greg, you highlighted most of it already, but, after that early start on day 4, it looked like he was in trouble. Big trouble. And then he fought back and he hit some great shots. And when he hit it on 18, I just could not believe that lie. But you know what? He's got some moxie. He had some hop back in his step. He got up there. He said, I'm going to deal with it. And as you said, all he needed was a 5. He's got 3 to get down from there. But that could have been way worse. Like, that ricochet was the friendliest ricochet any person on 18's ever had in their last round of any major championship. That was great. And
I could have dropped down in the middle of a bush and he would have been unplayable. He would have been hitting 3 from like a spot that he couldn't even get it anywhere. And he literally would have had to get up and down from the fairway probably just to make a playoff.
Yeah. I mean, if that had ricocheted 45 degrees back right, he would be in jail forever. And there's no way that he was even getting a 6 at that point without some ridiculous shot. So more power to him. I'll hail him. He did a great job. He had moxie. He got through it, and good for him.
I think one of the big comments he had speaks true, and it probably is one of the reasons he pulled it off again, was he said, I kept having to remind myself, I already won a green jacket. And when he started freeing up, that's when he came back and took this over, and you could see some of the other guys tighten up. But the other player, Scotty Scheffler's out of his mind. I mean, you cannot count this guy out for 1 second. Now, he seems to still miss these short putts when they matter, which comes back to bite him in the ass because he only needed one more shot and he was in a playoff. If he posted 13, he would have won the Masters remarkably. But this guy is just, I mean, he's never out of it. He's never out of it.
He should have been out of it, though. He should have been.
But he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Oh,
yeah, and the guy doesn't, he's not as exciting as, these personalities we have in sports nowadays, or entertainment for that matter. But, man, he just gets the job done. He just puts his head down.
Before we started recording, I was telling both Jimmy and Ryan, when I was sitting here Friday night and just putting together some crazy parlays with these winners without and Rory just tying shit in, I said, all right, I got to build a couple around Scheffler because this guy somehow always lands in the top 5. So, I mean, the best bet of the weekend was him sitting there 19-1, winner without. And most people would look at that and be like, this guy's 11 shot. What are we talking about? And here he comes. I mean, he almost pulled this off.
Going into Saturday morning or whatever time, early afternoon, whenever it was late morning because he was on like hole 5. I threw $10 on it, which, for me is a lot. It was like $290 to win, but he was on his way back and he came very, very close. As close as you can come.
Yeah. I mean, he is, again, I think Jimmy said this beginning of the year when we were around like Pebble Beach time in February. You just can't count him out. It doesn't matter that he starts slow. He's just going to charge back at some point. He's going to have 2 rounds that are better than everybody else.
Yeah. The weird thing is, what would the 3 of us do to finish top 5? Not in a major, just in any professional tournament. And this guy's playing some of his worst golf and still finishing top 5 in what you'd argue is the most elite tournament in the world.
Yeah, I as boring as Scotty can be in interviews and otherwise, I enjoy watching him play more than I maybe enjoy watching anybody else play. Like, I don't know why. I know they're all just swinging a club, but something about watching Scotty play golf is awesome, and I enjoy it very much so.
He was really funny Saturday because he said to Amanda on the way off the course that, yeah, he might have left a couple out there. But then he was asked by one of the reporters in the group, hey, do you think you could have been better today? And he was like, that's a stupid question. Unreal. Next question. Like he was pissed that someone was questioning his 65, which I thought was funny because I was like, wait, 15 minutes ago, this guy just told Amanda, like, yeah, he could have left a couple out there maybe. Mm. So I thought he was funny watching him get fired up. But what was unbelievable, I don't know if you guys caught this stat, he's the only player that they can only go back to 1942. He's the only one to ever be bogey-free. Bogey-free on the weekend at the Masters. Bogey-free.
That's wild.
That's unbelievable. It'll never happen again in our lifetime unless it's him.
So at the end of their careers, your prediction, will Scotty overtake Rory in your rankings?
This is going to be the only way I can give this answer. And it's not a cop-out. It's the problem when you evaluate Rory, and I feel Phil kind of falls into that category too, is they've overlapped these unbelievable eras where you were up against Tiger, and then you had Phil, then you have Rory, and you have Scheffler in the mix, and you have all these great players. I don't know if Scotty will have that on the back end. I got to see. Is there going to be someone who comes up who's a threat to him like he is to Rory? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to argue with you about your Rory 3, but I think there's an argument that could be made. I don't think he ends up 3 when all is said and done unless he does more. So I think there's still time. He's only 36 years old. He's got plenty of runway to figure it out. I don't think if his career ended tomorrow or if he never won a major again, he'd end up number 3. I think if he wins a couple more, I think there's a good chance that you can make that argument that he's 3, and you can make it now based on his trajectory.
You're looking, if you're talking PGA, then you might have an argument. But if you're talking golf, you have to factor in everything. You got to factor his huge wins across the pond. You got to factor in the Ryder Cup stuff. Scotty's not going to catch him unless Scotty's going to have to start ripping off majors, winning Ryder Cups, going across the pond, winning the Scottish Open, shit like that. Like Rory's overall body of work is going to land him at number 3 unless Scotty does something amazing, not Rory.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. There's people that like flash in the pan. Like I didn't like him when he first started winning, but I actually have a soft spot for Brooks Koepka now. And he started so hot. I mean, he won 5 like fairly quickly.
5 majors.
Yeah, but he did it fairly quickly, and now he's kind of faded. Like, will he have this comeback? Watching his game, I don't think that he will. I think Brooks. I don't think he's done. I just think he's going to be one of the greats. But that's it's wild when somebody gets hot like that. how quickly it can happen. It's amazing because you're up against such a turn. It's not like we talk. It's not tennis. It's not like tennis where the 1 and 2 are probably going to be there unless there's a major upset. Golf can go anywhere every weekend. So
yeah, just remember too, like Koepka, he's got 5, but he's only won 2. He's only won the PGA and the U.S. Open. 3
right,
and
yeah,
2.
he's not anywhere near the Slam, right?
And that's something that goes into this. Scotty don't have the Slam. Rory's got the Slam, and that is a huge thing. That's one of the things that still sticks with Phil. He didn't win that U.S. Open. He came in second 9,000 times, but he never won the U.S. Open.
But there was a time where they thought Phil wasn't going to win one because he played against Tiger all the time, and he ended up ripping off. What did he rip off, 5 or 6?
He's got 5 because he got the PGA, but or did he get 6 because of the PGA?
No, I think he got 6.
He's got 6 because of that last PGA when he was 50. But the thing with him, like I said, he never got the U.S. Open, and what really propelled him up the rankings was when he got the British, because nobody thought Phil Mickelson was ever going to win the Open Championship.
Greg, what's your take on like what is I have in my head the other 3, like what I feel about them and like watching what the challenges are. What about the PGA? What does it hold? It's like kind of when you beat that, what are you beating? You know, the U.S. Open, it's long as hell. There's 10 inches of rough. It's ridiculous. The Masters we talked about, you know, many times. It's a precision shot golfer's course. They keep adjusting every year. The British Open is long and rolly and has, 175-foot wide greens or tiny ones, whichever. What do you say about the PGA?
Well, I think it depends on the year. I mean, the PGA of America could set it up very similar to U.S. Open, where they have crazy rough and the greens are rolling like you wouldn't believe. But they say, and I agree to an extent, depending on the year, the PGA has the strongest field that you have to go up against.
But there's no I don't want to say course type because I know the courses rotate, but there's no like type that they're going to take this course and mold it a certain way.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all up to the PGA of America. I don't think anybody wants to see minus 20 win their golf tournament.
Right.
So, I mean, it just depends on the challenge that the PGA wants to set up. Where
okay, so
when you go to the U.S. Open, like you're talking about, the U.S. Open kind of sticks to that formula. The greens are going to run fast, nearly impossible at most of these courses, and they're going to let that rough grow in because you can see Pebble Beach, if me and Jimmy go meet there tomorrow and play it, and then you can see Pebble Beach when it gets a U.S. Open, they let the rough grow for about 2 months. I mean, it's ridiculous what they do. I mean, it's so thick. It's you can't even move. Players like us couldn't move the ball in a rough like that. You just pick it up and throw it back in the fairway in the first cut because you're not going to move. You're going to break your wrist. We don't know what we're doing. Like that's how thick the rough gets at a U.S. Open if they want to, and they'll do it at Shinnecock. There's going to be things at Shinnecock Hills that you're just going to be like, this is borderline unfair. The way they set those greens up. Good luck. You and I'm not even trying to be funny, Ryan. You'd 30 putt if you were above the hole.
No, I get it. I know what you're talking about.
You tap the putt and it would be halfway down the fairway. That's how fast these greens run. They're unbelievable. And we'll get into it when we get to June because the U.S. Open I love. I mean,
it's my favorite.
It's
my favorite because it makes me feel like them. Like, oh, good, he missed by 15 feet. I would have missed by 30, but it's not 2 feet.
The reason I love the Masters is because it's the same course. We know it. We love it. And you saw what happened this weekend. We had players like Bryson couldn't figure it out. We had Rory one day go 65 and then go 73. You can literally get an eagle on 13, or you can walk off with a 7. 15, you can eagle it, or you can be Bobby Mack and walk off with a 9. That's why I love the Masters so much. Is it's the same holes, and they just move those pin placements, and the course is completely different, and it's unbelievable. It's by far the best tournament.
It's a true shot maker's course. If you're a shot maker and you can adjust to anything, because it doesn't mean that you played there last year and are going to be able to make the same shots. Exactly like you said.
Well, yes and no. Course knowledge there is why Freddie Couples will pop up on the leaderboard like he did Friday and almost made the cut again at whatever is 60 whatever. And it's why you couldn't count Phil out. If Tiger comes back next year, I'd bet him to make the cut. He knows that he could play that course blind. In Rory, he'll have 15 more years where he could win another Masters because of the course knowledge. You think of Bernard Langer, he had a top 10 in his 50s. Freddie was right there in his 50s. I mean, you watch. Rory will make a run in his 50s at this place if he stays healthy. And then, I mean, some of the other things I wrote down was, I mean, My God, Jimmy, you didn't bet it. This is what everyone. This is what I try to teach my friend Jimmy because I love him. When you have something, you gotta fire Jimmy. Jimmy said it on the show. I believe it was on the show. It was either on the show or before the show. I think we recorded it, though. I have to go back and listen to the episode. Jimmy, you said you had a feeling Henley was going to charge up and get a top 5 or top 10. And they were huge odds. And you were right.
You did.
And you didn't bet it.
He looked good, too. He looked real good. There was a point yesterday, I think it was probably when Rory was on 7 or 8. I was like, there's an outside chance we get like a 6-man playoff in this thing if it keeps going this direction.
I know. But Russell Henley had the second best weekend, one shot behind Scotty. He went 66, 68, Jimmy. You had it. You nailed it.
Yeah, he was playing awesome. Awesome. Justin Rose, I almost texted Ryan yesterday. Justin Rose, I really thought, I'm like, this guy's just steady. And then, of course, he does what he does, and with 4 holes to go, it just starts to fall apart.
Listen, he made that last putt. That mattered to me.
Hold on. Let's be fair. I wrote this down. Rose could be after Rory and probably Scotty. Rose is probably the most impressive. I mean, this guy did it again.
Very impressive.
He's just always there. He never fades. He goes 70, 69, 69, 70. But, yeah, he fell apart a little bit this year. But, Jimmy, not last year. Last year, I mean, he had 10 birdies.
Obviously not last year.
So, I mean, yeah, he had a couple shots he wished he could have back this year. The one I felt for a little bit was Young. He shot 73, and God, if you told him going into the day 71 would have got him in a playoff, 70 would have won the Masters for him. You know what I mean? He just couldn't make anything. He hit some really great shots on the front 9. He just couldn't make a putt. Just couldn't make a putt yesterday.
That's what people forget, too. There's a little luck involved. Like, there's certainly some intelligence and some shot striking and all that stuff, but you got to make a couple putts between 10 and 30 feet or you have no chance against these guys.
Part of the problem with the Masters, and I don't watch obviously as much golf as Greg does, probably not as much as Ryan does either, but when you're watching most tournaments, you watch them putt and they're really reading the greens. Here, if it was within 10 feet and there was any slope at all, they weren't like putting, like they would say the left side of the hole. They weren't, none of it. It was just you tap it and you hope it takes the line you want it to because it's like putting on pavement. So at the Masters, there was it felt like, yes, some of them were putting better than others, and there were some uphill putts that obviously had a little more juice. But every downhill putt or a slightly slow putt was basically like, yes, you're trying to tap it in the right direction, but there was no long hook and it's going in, right? It's just like, let's just hope this thing hits the right side of the cup.
Have you seen that video of Rory's daughter? I think it was last year or the year before.
It was last year on the par 3 contest.
She barely touches in. It goes like 35 feet and just drops in the hole. Like, it's crazy to watch. It's a really weird highlight, but that's exactly what you're saying.
Practice on cement.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that is most of your majors, most of your harder courses are just like that. Like when you get to it's all about where you leave the ball. If you're above the hole at the U.S. Open, Godspeed, because there's a good chance you're 4-putting. Forget 3-putting.
I will tell you, I was thinking if all the tournaments I've ever watched, if I could play one hole. And it might take me 30 shots, but I think I could get there. My over/under landing on the green I would give myself 10 because I would go for the fattest part of the green. I'd love to play 12 at the Masters.
I mean, you'd hit the green,
but I'd want to hold the green.
You'd hold the green 1 out of 10 times, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I could.
But it's because don't forget, a lot of these greens, they just funnel to something. Like there's some of these big greens, they're just going to funnel for you.
Yeah.
And then, no offense, you'd 45 putt because you'd be so confused that I don't understand why the ball just ran back into the fairway. I barely touched it. That's the crazy part of these greens. I'm telling you.
Back to making it hard, like you're talking about, Greg. It's incredible, right? They have the same pin positions essentially every year, and they still can't figure it out. These guys that are the best of the best, you know?
Well, because if you miss your landing spot by a yard, you're cooked. That's why, like, you look at 16 yesterday. There was probably a 2-yard radius that if you landed it in that, it was going to take the slope and you were going to have a 5-foot birdie putt, maybe a chance at a hole in one. There's a lot of holes like that at the Masters where if you ride the slope, you're great, but you got to land it in like a 2-yard circle.
You also have the appropriate. You have to have the appropriate spin too. There were a variety of times where I saw people kind of trying to put it in it. Who the heck hit that shot? It was like I don't even know.
Rory shot on 15, 99 of 100 with a wedge. That ball spins and goes back in the water, and he loses the Masters. Somehow, it had no spin on it. And the announcers didn't even understand what happened. Jim Nantz was like, how did it not spin?
I was doing two things at the same time. There was someone that hit it like 30 feet left of the pin from greenside up into the bank, and then it came back to the right, like 60 feet. You have any idea?
I don't remember the shot because there was a lot of them, but yeah, they play the bank and the slope. It's
unbelievable. But playing the bank like they play it, of course, we play is never taken care of like that. It wouldn't roll that way. So you have to have that extra like brain or experience or skill or whatever it is.
No, it's true. Jimmy walked away, but I'll bring that shot up to him when he gets back. But the other one I wrote down was, oh my God, Sugar Shane, my man. This is 2 years in a row where he just fell apart again in a final round. What did he finish at? Lord,
I don't know. You were in my head, and I threw some money on him at some point on Saturday. I was very upset.
Let's see where. Well, Saturday it looked great. He was in
an end though. I'm talking about. I was like, oh man.
He finished 30th. He shot 80 yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he's seemingly just a nice guy too.
He went from tie 3 to tie 30th. I mean, if you had a Shane Lowry bet, I did. Apologize to everybody. That was my only fear about Shane was he has just been snake bit on Sundays.
The thing with him though, especially when Rory's winning, that's his boy. Obviously, they're like best buddies. Like you would think that would you would ride the wave of your friend to some extent. But it didn't work that way.
It didn't. So I wrote that down. And then the other one I wrote down was my man, and I brought him up last week on our Monday show when we were going through the board, and I was right. I had one bet on him, and it cashed, obviously. And I thought it was dead, to be honest. He shot 66 yesterday. Tyrrell Hatton just always seems to poke his head up, just can't get over the hump and win. But he always seems to just do enough to get his name on a leaderboard at these big events, but can't win. But there he was again. Tyrrell Hatton finishes 2 shots away from a green jacket. So I had that written down. And then, Jimmy, the one when you walked away that I said was, I forgot in the opening, the most amazing shot, I think, yesterday was Rory's shot on 15 because I said 99. Let me change it. 999 of 1,000 with a wedge. That ball has spin on it and spins back in the water. He loses the Masters. Somehow, ball didn't spin.
Yeah. It was a hell of a back nine for Rory yesterday. It makes me very excited for Father's Day weekend now. Can't wait. Can't get here quick enough.
Well, that's going to be our second major coming up. Before we get there, we go to the PGA in May, 14th of May. So we got about a month. Right now, if you were making a play, would you go right to Scotty at plus 380? Can Rory back this up 6.5 to 1, or do you go down the board? Brooksy 33 to 1.
Yeah, I like a long shot in these scenarios. You talk about it all the time. It's pretty short odds at the top of a tournament. Yeah, I'd go longer.
So I've already made my first play. I don't understand why he's so long. I would have put him at like 40 to 1. Russell Henley 70 to 1. Give me a flyer, and then I'll bet. But I'm going to lock that in before it falls down to 40 to 1. But I don't know why he's 70 to 1. So I got that in already.
All right, I like it. I made a play. It was minus 3,000. But it was, did Greg already make a play on the next golf tournament?
You cashed.
Yep, we'll pay.
Yeah, it paid.
Congratulations on your 4 cents.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like throwing some long shot money. I'm going to go right back to the well, and here's why. I realize it's not exactly next door, but it's in Goddard's backyard this year. So I'll take Goddard at 40 to 1 for a couple of bucks.
I gotta see him. I gotta see him hold on the weekend on a leaderboard in a major before I get he at 70 to 1. I would have played him. Him and Henley to me should be reversed their odds after what I saw this weekend.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate Bobby Mack after a really tough one, making a comeback at 66 to 1. I like Brooks, so I'll have a buck or two on him just because I will. What about Bryson at 10 to 1? Like after this brutal not no cut action.
I don't hate Xander out of the top 6 or 7 here. I don't hate Xander 16-1. Xander just quietly plots along, and he'll get another one eventually.
Yeah, I think Justin Thomas 25-1 is a no go for me. I've lost all faith in him. Morikawa played pretty well with a bad back.
I know.
I wouldn't take him based on the fact that that's a possibility still. I don't like Patrick Reed at 40-1.
Nah, he did not look good on the weekend.
Yeah.
I thought he had the course history just to stay around and do some damage, but he didn't look good.
I mean, Henley at 70-1. I don't
Telling you.
After what he's played, yeah, I guess
Morikawa looked calm, cool, and collected while we know he was hurt.
That might be
a little bit.
Well,
thinking about him,
he's playing this week. I think I like him to win this week.
Yeah, so Rory's not playing, right?
No, Rory's taking 3 weeks off.
Going to Jamaica or wherever, anywhere to hang out and just relax.
Hey, somehow there's odds for Tiger coming up at the PGA.
Well, it's because he's a lifetime exemption there. That's how the PGA works, right?
Yeah, I believe he'll still be. I'm not sure how the 30-day program works, but I think he'll probably still be there.
You can get Phil too. If Phil decides to play this one, he'll get you a nice 300-1.
Yeah, I hope Tiger comes back, man. I'd love to see him play again.
Oh, maybe you know what? It might be a 10-year exemption because he won the Masters in 2019. That might be what he's riding still. I don't know what the exemption is for the PGA. I don't think it's a lifetime exemption though. You have to look that up. All right, let's listen to Jimmy tell us what happened in the UFC.
Yeah, it didn't go our way. No, it's fighting. It happens. But if you watch the card, man, it was exciting. I know neither of these gentlemen did, so I'll tell you a little bit about what happened. The one that I thought with Dominic Reyes was going to knock out because all him and Johnny Walker do is end people did not happen. It was the most boring fight on the card, but otherwise it was awesome. Cub Swanson went into retirement in style. Guy's 42 years old. He looked fast as ever. Looked like he could keep fighting. His last fight, he looked great too. One of the prelims, Patricio Pitbull locked to Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico looked like a guy that he fights to his potential. It could just be absolutely stellar. Kevin Holland won. Good to see. Fighting at 170, bounced between 170 and 185. He looked really good. He's entertaining as all can be. We got one wrong early. Vicente Luque submitted Kevin Gastelum. I can't believe he did it. I'm happy for him. But that one got over on us. But the others, look, the Paulo Costa fight, I thought Osmat was going to win this fight. Paulo Costa has moved from 185 to 200. At 185, like the guy looks like an Adonis. He looks not nearly as cut up now, but the guy is huge. Osmat looked good. He was coming at him. Paulo Costa was hitting him with kicks right to his stomach. And at the end, I'm 95% sure, I didn't look up afterwards, but I think he broke Osmat's arm when Osmat blocked a punch.
I lied to Jimmy pre-show. Sorry, I did watch this one fight.
Yeah,
I turned it on and watched this one. It was a good fight.
He ended up getting taken out on a stretcher afterwards because theoretically his arm. But Paulo Costa looked like an absolute beast at 205. So let's see where that takes him. But good fight. Like I said, Osmat came forward. The only fight I didn't see on this card was the Josh Hockett Curtis Blades fight, which was allegedly the best one on the card. That's the one that I fell asleep for. And woke back up to watch, and I didn't rewind because it was live. But Hockett basically earned himself a fight on the White House card based on how he performed there. And then the main event where I thought Yuri was going to win. This was unbelievable. Do you guys know what happened in this fight? Did anybody pay attention, or am I going to eliminate this for you in real time?
What do you think? There it is.
Lost. Or Alberg won, I'm sorry. Alberg blew his knee out at the 2 minutes into the first round. When he went to plant to throw a kick, his plant leg, he just crumbled to the ground. He tried 3 times in a row. He couldn't stand. So Yuri Prochazka, for some reason, says, fine, let's just stand here and trade. They come in, 1-2, knocks Yuri out. Yuri could have just circled, kicked him in the leg, won the fight, won the bet for us, won the title. But instead, he like gave him a chance, said, fine, let's just stand here and trade. And Alberg, with a blown out knee, knocked him out. Couldn't stand. Every time he went back to plant, just crumbled to the ground. It was like watching a wounded deer try to fight. And he knocks Prochazka out, and he's now the champ. And now he probably won't defend it for a while because he's got a fully blown out knee. So maybe there's already going to be an interim belt because he's probably got, I don't know, best case scenario, 8 months, 9 months before he can fight again. It was wild. So
I realized I did that in reverse.
Not knowing that ever.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is you made me bet on a guy who has a very, very low strategy. Like,
yeah, he was crying after the fight. He said, "I felt mercy for him. I wanted to give him a chance." And by the way, if you go back and watch it, that might be true, but it's only partially true because like Allberg I mean, can you imagine to have no leg to plant on and you still have enough power to knock somebody out?
no, that's impressive.
Like,
I think I did that in reverse based on your guys' reaction. But you watch the guy like literally back into the fence and go, "Okay, I'm gonna stand here," and then he comes out with one punch, puts him on his back, and the guy's done. Just like, help! Oh my god, he hit me too hard.
Well, I stand by the bet. I mean, we bet on a guy that his only 2 losses in the UFC are to the potentially best fighter in the UFC. He's won every other fight he's been in. But I got to tell you, good for Allberg. The guy is just a sniper. His accuracy, his movement, even on legitimately one leg, like couldn't stand up. Now he's going to go probably have his knee rebuilt, and we'll see when he can come back and defend the belt. But yeah, really, really good. This is the best, in my opinion, this was the best night of fights since it went to Paramount.
All right. Well, what's up I mean, we'll break it down on our Thursday show before Jimmy takes a little hiatus. But what's up this week? Anything worth getting excited about or no?
Not really. I can't really figure out why this is a main event, to be honest with you. You've got Gilbert Burns versus Mike Malott. I can only assume it's to feature Mike Malott because Gilbert Burns is on a 4-fight losing streak. I don't remember the last time somebody on a big losing streak was the main event. Now, Gilbert Burns is an exciting fighter. He's a really tough guy, but he's obviously past his prime. He's 39 years old. So I, for the life of me, can't figure out how this is a main event on a card. It doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever, but it is what it is. I mean, he's a plus 285 favorite. I would lay the 360 as crazy as it is before I went the other direction. There's nothing else super exciting on the card. Jasmine Jasudavicius is fighting. We've watched her a couple of times. Robert Valentin, we've bet on him before. We've bet against him before. He's on the card. Nothing I'm super pumped about. The real fights that we're going to be excited about, Aljamain Sterling's fighting in a couple of weeks. That should be an exciting fight. Former champion, always good. The week after that, May 2nd, this is the one that I'll be locked into. This is our boy Carlos the Nightmare Prates, my favorite fighter in the UFC right now, fighting Jack Della Maddalena, coming off losing his belt. Huge step up for Prates. Scary fight for JDM. I think Prates gets this done. We'll wait to see what it looks like. There's a couple other decent fights. Steve Verseg's fighting. Benil Denurish is fighting on that card. Tai Tuivasa is exciting, but just has like a history of getting knocked out as of recent. But the big card, so we'll talk about that one. The big card that's going to be extremely good is after that. It's the 9th of May, so it's not far off, about a month away. Chimaev's fighting Sean Strickland. I think Sean Strickland and everybody else thinks Sean Strickland is going to get his ass kicked, but that's the title fight. Josh Van is fighting the fight that he just had to push, another title fight. Volkov fighting Cortez Acosta on this card. You've got Sean Brady, who was the number 2 ranked guy in that division. He slid back a little bit, fighting Wonky Buckley. That's an awesome fight. You got your boy King Green fighting Jeremy Stevens, who somehow just keeps fighting. 29 and 22. He's like, he's got to be 42 years old. Jan Blachowicz, the former champions on this card. This is the card to watch Saturday, May 9th. So that'll be the big one we break down, but the other ones we'll have a fight or two to talk about as we go.
Excellent. All right. I know you guys aren't following it that closely. I told you I just kind of glance at it here and there, but what do we all have in common right now in the Major League Baseball playoff? Baseball.
Our teams are all bad.
Our teams are all in last place.
Yeah. Yep.
Jays, the Red Sox, and the Mets all sitting in dead last. This is going to change for the Red Sox after tonight because they're already down 11-0 to the Twins. Nice work, boys. But the one thing I wrote down coming into the show is Red Sox couldn't have played worse. They're 6-9. They're only 2 games out of first, but I look and I'm like, all right, the run differential is literally 0. So I'm not feeling too bad. And that's going to change after today because the Twins are just pounding on us right now. If I'm the Jays, I'm a little concerned. Run differential is almost the worst in baseball. It's -25. They just are getting crushed in most games. Mets, I think the problem the Mets have right now is that somehow, some way, this Braves team, as injured as they are, as beat up as they always are are putting a team on the field that is just crushing everyone. Their run differential is 40.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And they're the only team when you look at it that you're really worried about. You'd think the Phillies, but their run differential is god awful. No, I don't think anybody's worried about the Nationals, and the Marlins are as a paper tiger as it comes, no matter what the record is. So yeah, I mean they need to get Soto back. He's got a calf strain. We'll see. I think they're thinking in about a week he'll be back, the homestand, but we'll see what happens.
Well, we're very short into the season, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. I have some plays, as you heard, on the Rangers futures to win the West because I don't believe in the Stros. And I made a nice play here on the Astros under win total, thanks to Mike Palm over at VSiN, because he said he literally thinks they might not win 80 games. Forget the 88 or 90, whatever.
Stros?
Yeah, he thinks the Stros are awful, and we're all going to see it. And there's going to be a lot of people losing money. He didn't understand why they were the second betting choice behind the Mariners. And he loved the no playoffs, so I kind of rode the Stros being bad this year. It's a good call. They've lost 8 in a row.
Yeah, so far so good.
It's really, really nothing more on baseball right now. All these teams are kind of bunched up. We got to kind of see how the next. I'd say once we get to Memorial Day, we can literally sit here and maybe have a conversation with a bigger picture of who really is going to have a nice run over the next 60 games or so. But right now, I don't think no one really has to hit the panic button for the teams that were thought to be contenders at the beginning of the year. I will say the O's have had a nice little run to get themselves tied for first. First couple of games, I wasn't too impressed, but here they are at 8-7 now, 3-way tie in the East. So
yeah, but it's 8-7, 8-7, 8-7, 6-9, 6-9. And probably in the deepest division, probably year or two in a row.
Yeah, it's probably true. It's either it's that or the NL East probably, and then the NL Central is making a case for itself too. Because I really like the Reds coming into this year. They don't have a good run differential, but they're 9-7. We'll see what they can do. And then somehow, don't look now, but Paul Skeens and the Pirates are in first place.
There's nothing more I would love. I was rooting for Detroit for a while. I'm a little soured by what we talked about last week, but Pirates, man, let's go. Let's get one of those little teams that has a tiny little stadium, does things right by the fans, and I don't know.
You keep rooting
for
some
money. Give them some money to spend.
You can keep rooting for Detroit because they're going to win the Central.
No. I'm sorry, Detroit football. That's what I was referring to. How we were upset with them last week.
All right, where do we want to go? And you know what? Let's go to the league where they play for pay. NFL. We touched on it a little bit on our last one, but let's kind of go a little deeper here and talk about some of these players. Is Mendoza just, setting himself up for disaster if he's the choice here by the Raiders? Do you think we're sitting here in 6 years going, wow, this guy's a hell of an NFL quarterback? Or do you think we're sitting here talking about another, I don't know, I don't want to say Baker because Baker's actually turned out to be good, but
he wasn't treated well in the beginning.
Yeah, he wasn't. And Johnny Manziel would not be fair because he did it.
Oh, yeah.
But do you think we're sitting here saying...
Look at Marcus Russell. Don't forget. Yeah, I know they're very different, but same org.
That's a good one because that was a Raider pick too. What do you think, Jimmy? Do you think we're sitting here talking about him as a top 10 quarterback in the NFL in 6 years, or do you think he is not an NFL quarterback?
And it's funny how you phrase that, right? Because if you're not a top 10 NFL quarterback, you're like, should they upgrade? Which is wild because, as we've discussed, there's not 32 men alive that can do this job at a high level. Right? But I think he's going to be okay. I think that, hopefully Brady mentors him a little bit. I think he comes in with the right moxie. Don't forget, Derek Carr was having an MVP season before he broke his leg that year. So they've had some success with it, and he was a below average quarterback. So if they can surround him with the right pieces, I think Mendoza, he can be a Matt Ryan, which would be awesome. Matt Ryan was an MVP, potential Hall of Famer. That's possible. I don't think Mendoza is a game changer. He's not going to be the next Peyton or Brady. But yeah, I think we're going to be sitting here talking about Mendoza being good. I think he's going to, from a culture perspective, help really change the tides there. And I think it's going to be good. I really do. And I'm not a huge Mendoza guy. I don't know the horse in the race,
Yeah.
I just think
it's just so hard, man. To be that first round guy coming out, top pick. You go into a crappy team with presumably not a top 20 even office. It's how can you be one guy going in there and fixing
He did. No, and you're right, Ryan. But he did win a championship in college, and he was one of the main reasons why. We've seen guys that won a championship, but they were just an okay quarterback in that process. Think about a lot of the Alabama quarterbacks that have done that right in the past before the Jalen Hurts era. Who was oh my god, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. The guy that got super famous because his girlfriend was hot. Uh, yeah, and
Reggie Bush, not a
no,
quarterback.
no, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name. But anyway, there's been a long line of Ken Dorsey's a great example in Miami. He was an okay backup. He was on a great team. He wasn't the reason the team was great. He was just a piece of that puzzle. Where Mendoza was much more than that. He was truly the signal caller, the guy that got it done, made big plays in big moments. So I think that goes a long way, especially doing it for a program that had no history of being there, right? Like, it wasn't like he was just riding this wave of if this is what was supposed to happen. He really helped create that legacy. So I think he's going to be okay. Like, if I had a bet on him, now I'm not saying he's ever going to be the best quarterback in the league, but could I see him being top 10 as a question? Yes, I could see him being top 10.
The good thing here is he's got the size, right? 6'5".
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got the size. So 6'5" is probably 6'2". But he's listed at 6'5", and he's a big kid. You watch him on the field, and he's physical. So
the problem is you got like Vince Young, who was the epitome of stupidity on the field, but in college he was unbelievable, right? And then you got Peyton Manning, who got sacked 56, 58 times for the Colts in year one, and is lucky to have lived through that season to be able to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, you never know. That's the thing. You
got to give him some time, right? But you're right. You don't know.
Put all these people in all these different situations, and I think the three of us always forget, like, those are different cities with different people, with different housing, with different, like, there's so many factors going on. It's hard to kind of predict the path, and there's been very few that have come out year one and been super solid.
I don't think year one it's going to be, but I think when we look at him going, like, when you come to year three and they're going to pick up his fifth-year option or extend him, I think you're going to look at him as, hey, this guy's the future.
But in the moment, there's so much learning to do, both on his side and the org side, and however else you're going to fill around him too.
That's true. I mean, it's true.
Look at McDaniel. I mean, I know I'm a Patriots guy, but like, McDaniel's been in a variety of situations. He's done exceptionally well in some and just awful in others. You know,
yeah,
same thing with
he's a bad head coach. He's a good offensive coordinator, right? So there's different people that are great for different roles. Like, and that's what he is. If anybody gives him a head coaching job again and he fails, it's shame on them at this point.
And you look at Brian Billick, right? He was a Ravens coach for quite a while, pretty successfully. And then a few years after he was done with that, however that happened, I don't even actually remember, he was the special quarterbacks coach for the Giants. Yeah. Like, there's those people that have those roles they can play and do it well.
Take a job, a little less stress, probably still get a nice payday. Yeah, I don't see anything that would think that you would lead to Mendoza to be a bust, other than what Greg kind of alluded to. Are the Raiders going to ruin him? Right.
You know, we touched on this last show, and it's probably going to be one we keep touching on until the draft's over. But why, if you're the Giants, I just don't understand drafting Love as another running back. I don't understand it.
I don't think they will.
Well, they had Saquon. Why get rid of him if you're going to draft another one?
Wait, what?
Yeah, too early.
They got my man from Arizona State.
No, I mean, before the Giants. Am I crazy? No.
Yes, they had Saquon before, but they traded. They were too unless you have a ready to win team, having a great running back only helps you so much. Now, right? Like, I don't think they're going to take Jeremiah Love. They need to take probably another receiver. Their defense should be decent. They have players on defense. If you're a Giants fan.
Defense, they got a couple receivers that just need to get healthy. Like, we've talked about it.
They do, but like Neighbors,
they got a back that I think can be unbelievable in this league.
Neighbors is a beast.
You just don't know. I mean, your two best playmakers, Scatabo and Neighbors, had really bad injuries, right? So, like, you have to have some sort of insurance to see how they're going to come back from that.
Maybe they have more insight into that than we do at the moment. Like, we saw the injuries, but I'm just saying, like, maybe they have an idea of the person and the recovery and all that.
But I agree. You don't need Love because and Tyrone Tracy's a great backup. So if Scatabo and Tracy, like, you don't need another running back.
But Scatabo's said himself, and there's been talk out of Giants camp that he's going to be ready by week one. He looks great. Like, his recovery's going fine. It was a gruesome injury, but He dislocated his ankle, but it looks like everything's recovered. He looks strong. His physical therapy's going well. I think he's back on the field week 1. Look, he's just got to calm it down a little bit. He's a little too physical. So maybe just calm it down a little bit there.
Usually a quarterback conversation.
Yeah, well, that's the
wide receiver conversation.
That's the problem the Giants have. They got him going nuts, and they got Jackson Dart, who's like, "I am who I am. I'm not going to slow down.
I'm throwing it over the middle, dude."
He basically said, "I won't be sliding. Trade me." It's basically what he said to the Giants.
Yeah,
it's like, "I am who I am. Eat me." So good for him. Jimmy, are you happy that the Browns look like they're going to draft offensive tackle?
Well, they have to because they basically lost everybody else. Like they had a great line for a couple of years, and it's all dissipated. So they don't have much of a choice.
Well, that's why I figured they'd draft a quarterback because they need to draft offensive tackles. But the Browns thing to do here would be draft another edge rusher.
No, I think I think Shedeur Sanders can like you got to give him a year to see if he's the real deal. And I think that you got to protect him and give room for the running back. The question for the Browns is the same thing. What's going to happen to our running back? He had a pretty bad knee injury as well. Is he going to come back okay? No, we got the kid from Tennessee last year that came in and played all right. And you can also draft a running back in the 4th or 5th round to try to make up for it. But, the Browns defense wasn't the problem, as we all agree. That wasn't the issue. Their motivation to stay in a game after they held another team scoreless for 2 quarters and the Browns got a total of 7 yards was probably the issue.
Yeah, fair enough. As I scroll through this, Ryan, I didn't realize how many picks the Patriots have. They have 11 picks in this draft. Were you aware?
Yeah, they didn't mess around. They're doing their old thing.
I don't think the Jets are going to pick Simpson in the 1st round. I kind of agree with Jimmy here. I think they're going to grab him in the 2nd round. Unless someone starts the chatter that if you don't take him, we will. I think the Jets are going to wait to round 2.
Listen, why are we talking about the Jets? Like, with no due respect to them.
You're not wrong, Ryan. You're not wrong. But I think this is what happens, right, with the fall. And this is why I go back to Shedeur, and I'm okay with it in the 5th round, especially if he turns out to be decent. But if you don't believe enough in the guy to take him in the 1st round, 2nd round draft capital is still real draft capital where you get future Pro Bowl players. So either you believe in him enough to take him before somebody else can, or you don't take him, right? You let him fall, and yeah, if he drops to 4th or 5th, then you grab him. But if you don't think he's your guy, you don't feel like you got to steal in the 2nd round. That's a position that's a draft pick where you could draft somebody that's going to make a real difference on your team for a long time.
I think to add to that too is that you said it well, but I would also say that's valuable to other people too. So you got to really believe in the people you're dealing with and considering. And then you also got to deal with, hey, how are these other people considering my 2nd round pick? And what value does that have to them? Because that's a huge piece.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, I'll take this side of the argument. The reason you do it, if you're the Jets, is because you have the 1st pick in the 2nd round. So if you don't think anyone's willing to go for him in the 1st round, you're picking first in the next round. So if you can get, to your point, another big piece, knowing he'll be there in round 2, well, the strategy is to draft him in round 2 then.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, you make a good argument based on where their pick is. A lot of the argument out there is that he is going to be good, and that the 2nd half of the year, where we were critical of him when he didn't play as well, that he was injured, and that could be true. But I certainly wasn't impressed with him the 2nd half of the year. He didn't look like a 1st round pick to me. I'd rather wait till the 3rd or 4th round. I don't know if he's going to fall this far, and take a shot on a nice Nussmeier, who was theoretically also hurt, right? And we thought was going to be really, really good.
Yeah. I was reading some reports on him, and they kind of questioned Nussmeier's arm strength. But from what I saw, not last year, but the year before, his arm strength doesn't seem to be an issue.
Yeah, it's tough to tell, man, until they get the NFL football in their hand and they're out there in the elements, right? Like, you just don't know. It happened with Denver, with what's his name? Jared Stidham. Like, he looked like I made the argument after that game. He looked like a good backup quarterback, and I didn't mean that insultingly. Like, he just didn't have the cannon that the other guys had to make these throws. Like, he made decent decisions. He didn't have the wheels. He couldn't get out of the pocket and not take a sack, and he didn't have the cannon to make the big throws he had to. He made decent, accurate throws, and if the pocket was clean, he was good. That's a classic. He's a good backup quarterback, right? And there's a big difference between that.
What's the number? Like, it's something like that.
The money's great.
Take it.
But that's when you see it, you're like, this guy's really talented. He knows what he's doing. He said, yeah. But then you saw Sam Darnold play the next game, and it looks like the pocket's collapsing, and he throws a rocket, right? Like I never gave Sam as much credit as he probably deserved for his arm strength. Like he just looked like he's going down. He throws a freaking bullet, like splits the defense. I mean, that's probably why he threw a lot of picks, because he thinks he can make every throw because he's got a cannon like Favre did, right? So it just looks different when you see that NFL arm.
Keep in mind, many people have mocked him over and over again about all kinds of different stuff, yet he's a top 15 guy in the league. We would do a lot to be a top 15 guy in any league.
For sure, but that's what I'm saying, though. Like, the intangibles, like, Jarrett Stidham's got a head on his shoulders. He's got all of him. He just is not physically good enough, like, right? He can't throw the ball hard enough.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And he can't get out of it. He can't get. Like, Jeff Garcia didn't have a big arm, but he was just fast enough that he could elude the rush, wait for somebody to get open, and so he played a few years really well. Baker's not that fast, but Baker, even though he's 5'10", has a cannon and can get the ball down. Like, there's got to be at some point, there's got to be some physical trait that helps you overcome them. So in a perfect situation with a clean pocket and things going right and you're playing timing-wise, Jarrett Stidham's a perfectly good backup. But you wouldn't trust him to start on your team because he's not going to get you there.
For however many games, yeah.
And that could be Nussmeier's thing. And this is coming full circle. Like, if it's just, it's tough to tell till you're out there.
All right, Jimmy, are you ready? I didn't tell you this was happening tonight, but I had it written down on my run of show. I said, I'm surprised Jimmy with this. It's draft season, Jimmy, and we're going to have our first draft right here. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to play for a nice dinner and drinks in New York City. That's what the winner's going to get in late June, early July. We are going to draft 6 teams each for the for the NBA and NHL playoffs. And here's how we're going to work it. Every time your team moves on, you get the points that's equivalent to their seed. For the NHL, we'll seed it the right way, not the NHL way. We'll go 1 through 8 based on their records. And that's how we'll award the seeding to the NHL. And you accumulate points as we go. Winner with the most points at the end wins a dinner and drinks in New York City. And I will let you pick first.
So we're talking about
any teams, NHL or NBA, any way you want to do it. My one caveat is you got to have at least one team from each sport.
And what are we doing here to get through the round, each round?
For the whole playoffs, you keep earning points based on their seed as they move on each series. So if you pick an 8 seed to move on, you're getting 8 points.
I feel like we need to give Jimmy some time to think about this.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a lot of time to
really vetted everything. I know you're going to come in like.
I've had enough time to think about how I can't wait to take him to Don Pepe's Pizza to get him a cold beer and a slice for that nice dinner.
At Luigi's in Brooklyn.
That's what you deal with Jimmy, but we'll make sure it's somewhere decent at least.
Hey, you know Chipotle serves beers in New York.
Yeah.
Get him 2 slices and a beer for $4 at one of those places at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most obvious one that I would have to take in this particular scenario, because I think it's a can't miss, is I'm going to take the Houston Rockets at the 5 seed to move on.
It's a great pick. The problem is you're going to get 5 points, but that might be the end. But good pick. All right. So I'm going to go in a different direction, and I am just going to immediately take...
We don't even know who all the seeds are yet.
I'm going to take the Avs off the board, and I'm going to back it up with...
So he gave you 1 pick, and he's taking 2?
Yeah, because then I get 2. It goes back and forth.
I get it.
Welcome to a snake draft, Ryan.
Yeah, I hear you.
This is where it gets tough. I'm going to take... God, I hate doing it. If they lose, I'm going to be so mad. Because they're the 2, and if they theoretically keep moving on, it's going to help me. I'm going to take the Celtics off the board.
All right. Well, I'm going to do something you probably don't expect me to do.
Take the Knicks.
I'm going to go 2 NHL teams.
Oh, look at you. All right. I'm very happy to hear this.
I'm going to go with my Lightning just because I'm going to do it.
Smart.
But I'm also going to take Edmonton because they've also proved that, hey, despite troubles, they make it. So I'm going to take
the goalkeeper can keep his head out of the net. They're in good shape.
All right. The Lightning is a great pick because we got to see what the records shake out to, but they're going to be at least getting a 3 in the overall. But they could be we'll see how the last couple games go, but they might actually be a 3. That's a really good pick. I have the Avs. So Jimmy took the Oilers, which is a very smart pick. I'm going to go to the other side of the bracket, and can they make a little run here for me? That was a good pick, Jimmy. I got to tell you. I think
you made him sweat. I think he had that written down, Jimmy.
I did.
He did not think
you were going to... Edmonton's going to be, what, a 6?
No, that's not what I had. Edmonton. Well, you got to look.
He had the Lightning.
I had the Lightning written down.
Oh.
I thought
He
you'd
was
go
gonna
Knicks
slam
and
you with
another
that.
NBA team. I did not see you.
The
That was
bully in the bottom right of my screen coming at you, Jimmy. You're doing good, man.
It's very good because right now, if everything ended today, Jimmy, you would have, let's see, the Lightning has 104 points. Lightning would be the fourth best team in the East, so you'd pick up 4 points every time they moved on. The Oilers, if everything ended today, the Oilers have the 1, 2, 3. The Oilers would be the 5.
Okay.
So
I like it. I got a 4.
You're in pretty good shape there. So those were 2 really, really good picks. I'm
You got him
impressed.
stumped, Jimmy. Look at him staring at the screen. He's looking for some new stuff. He's like, chat, do you have another screen I can look at? Oh my god.
No. I know where I'm going next. If the Glacier Trade takes it off the board, of course.
This is great TV. This is like Thursday night must-watch TV. Greg is scrambling.
I don't know if I'm scrambling. I'm trying to find.
I don't know. Your facial expressions would say you're looking. You had a plan, and Jimmy just threw a wrench in it.
He had to know I could potentially take Tampa.
I did. I don't think Tampa by any stretch is a guarantee to just start marching through. I'm gonna take the Sabres, and I'm gonna hope they fall all the way to the third best team. Right now they're second, tied with Montreal. So we'll see how that shakes out at the end. And then this is where it gets tough. What's the strategy here? Where do you go? I'm gonna take the Nuggets off the board on Jimmy with a 3 and hope that they do march on a little bit here.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the Stars. I'm gonna take the Stars in the NHL.
Okay.
I'm gonna back it up. I'm gonna back it up with the Cavs, and here's why. They're the 4. I think they get by Toronto, and then I think they get by Detroit. So I'm not saying they're going to get all the way, but I think I've got 2 series won there with the Cavs.
Detroit's coming on, man. They got a huge defense.
Hey, huge D in Detroit. But
That's not exactly what I meant. I was actually being literal for once.
But I think that, hey, if not now for Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, when? Right? If this doesn't work.
Harden, man, that guy's playing his heart out.
But he fails in the playoffs, so does Donovan Mitchell.
I know he does.
So let's see. If not now, when? I think that gets me 2 rounds with a 4 seed.
Smart.
He wasn't even. Did he even make third team All NBA?
I don't know. All that matters is that he wins it. He's won an MVP. He's like the great scorer. He needs to win in the playoffs.
I know. He's got a great beard.
How many more picks we get?
You have 1 more. I have 2 more. I'm just deciding, do I want to try to get tricky here?
So for all of you folks out there, I'm just staring. Jimmy just rubbed his hair a couple times. Greg's holding a pen in his face. He's moving it around a little bit. Clearly, the finger at the purse of the lips is challenging his mental acuity here. Jimmy's just sitting in his phone. I mean, I'm impressed. Greg came at him with this, and I think he really threw a monkey wrench into those picks with the Lightning, which Greg says he expected, but I'm not so sure he did. I think he thought Jimmy was going to go the other way. So there's your ringside and bing, 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 game's on. Greg, your 2 picks, sir.
I'm going to take Vegas off the board because they're going to be the 4, maybe the 5.
Point, counterpoint. Jimmy, surprise.
I was looking at him.
Greg feeling confident. He's starting to have that Rory swag with his jaw. I saw it.
I'm looking at the bottom of the bracket here in the NHL, and really my next pick comes down to who I think is going to win this Pittsburgh series. It's not set in stone. That's the other problem. One of these teams could get knocked out, and then you have nobody because the NHL season isn't over, which makes this a little bit more complicated.
Yet we remind everyone who drew up the rules of this conversation.
I don't really think it was tough rules. I mean, it was pretty fucking basic.
Jimmy's got a ride grand on the top screen here on my screen.
No, I'm just figuring out how I'm going to play this. I got 2 different ways I could play this.
We should do this every week, some version of it, because you guys are funny.
I mean, I get a deuce every time. I said they're going to win. I'm going to take the Spurs.
I like your pick. I think that's a good one. I think that's a sleeping giant, no pun intended.
It could be. Here's the only issue.
Defense wins playoffs.
He now has Denver and the Spurs, so it's one of them's going to lose. So he sort of hedged his bet because one of that's theoretically, assuming Minnesota loses. So I could go crazy. I could take Minnesota, and if they get by Denver, like I'm in great shape, right? Mm-hmm. Like it would be a good hedge. I don't think they're going to, but I think they could. They beat them when they had Cat. They don't have Cat anymore. I don't think they have enough to get by them. I can take the Knicks, who I love, but I don't think the Knicks get by Boston in the second round. And then and then it would come down to, if I was right and Greg was right, Cleveland beating Boston. I don't know if it's going to happen either. So this is what I have to debate. Do I go that route, or do I take a long shot NHL pick? Because every now and fucking again, it just happens. Do I say, hey, you know what? For the sake of big points, I'll take Ottawa. Do I say that? I don't know. Right? I do. I think they're going to do anything. I don't. I don't think they will. But you took Vegas off the board. I was considering that as my next pick. You know, Utah has a hockey team. Neither did anybody else. So we're not going that route either.
They're not bad.
They're not. But you know what I'm going to do? Just to be a homer. Give me the Knicks.
God. You picked the Lightning, the Cavs, and the Knicks. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, but I picked the Lightning are good. The Cavs I picked based on matchups.
I know, but you can't have all three of those home teams.
But if the Knicks and the Celtics meet in the second round, it's going to be big. And we'll see what happens. See what shakes.
I know. I think your heart got in there a little bit late.
Might have. But
I'm gonna leave this right here. The last. Let's see. We'll be back Thursday. So the last night of the NHL regular season is Thursday. So Friday night, Jimmy, I'll text you what the NHL seeds are. Like I said, we'll seed them overall 1 through 8. That's how we'll get our points.
I like it. Let's do it.
So we'll see. We know the NBA ones. They're locked in. Rockets are the 5. Cavs are the 4. Knicks are the 3.
What are the Spurs? 3 or 2?
2.
Celtics are 2. Nuggets are 3. Spurs are 2. So that's where we're at with that. And the Avs probably are, the Avs are the ones locked up. So the Avs are the 1.
What are the odds now to win the cup?
Plus 295 this morning.
Plus.
Yep.
Crazy to think a few weeks ago they were minus 350 or something like that.
No, they've always been in that 2 to 3 to 1 range to win the cup.
Weren't they minus at one point?
That was to win the President's Trophy.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Minus forever, and it came in. But all right, Jimmy, I think this is a pretty good one. I think if I'm evaluating this, you had a better draft for sure. You won the draft.
Oh well,
because he interrupted your momentum.
No, he made a solid pick. I actually did not think he would take the Lightning. I thought that was
That's what I'm saying. Look at his face. He's telling you right now by his face. I interrupted.
Because here's the problem with the Lightning. If things don't break their way in the last few games, they're the road team at Montreal, and they could easily get picked off in Series 1. Easily. Yeah. And they could easily go on to win the cup.
That's the problem. That's what's wild about. That's why I think the Edmonton pick, because hey, they're. I knew they were going to be a lower seed. See what happens. I actually seriously thought about Ottawa just because why not? We've seen the 8 seed and the Kings go all the way. But that would be an automatic shit. They'd only have to win 2 rounds and it'd basically be there, right?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with that pick. I agree with you. If somehow the Ducks throw up all over themselves and the Kings sneak in, if the Ducks pull it off, I don't know. The Ducks have had something going on this year. The Ducks are going to go by the Oilers. And that can flop, too. Home ice could easily flop to Anaheim. They're both tied at 90 points. 2 games to go.
Very exciting.
So I almost took the Ducks, but I don't like 4 games at Edmonton.
If they were called the Mighty Ducks, still I would consider it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of are in our hearts.
They always will be.
I agree.
That's where they came from.
It's just amazing to me that the 3 best teams have to play on that top of that bracket in Avs, Ducks, and Avs, Stars, and Wild.
Seems like bad for the game.
It is. They should just seed the shit 1 through 8, like I was saying on the last show. I hate that. That's the only part of this I hate.
Do you know where this came from? Like this format?
Yeah, they started doing it. Was it right at I think it was at COVID because of based on where they put everybody. So they stayed in the regionals. I think
the NBA had indoor only 16 teams or whatever it was competed. Why can't we take it back? What are we doing?
People are going nuts about it. Just go 1 through 8 again. My God.
Yeah.
The Sabres are technically going to be possibly the 2, but the Sabres could be as far down as the 4th best team, depending on what happens over these next few games. Canadians, like, that's the only thing that could screw Jimmy here with his Lightning pick. The Lightning could wind up being number 2, not number 4. Lightning go 2-0, and the Sabres go 0-2, or there's a couple ties and goes to overtime. The Lightning could easily wind up being the 1 in that side. They'd be the 2nd best team after the Hurricanes. So it's going to be interesting to see how the NHL seeding breaks out besides the Avs. All right. But now we can actually end the show with picking some series, which is good. The only one posted as of right now in the NHL is, and again, it just blows my freaking mind, Ryan, that this is a first round series, because it really, really, really shouldn't be. And that is Jimmy's team, who I'll be rooting for. Even though he has them in our bet, I'll still be rooting for him. And that's the Dallas Stars, minus 125 versus the Wild, plus 105. I already have a bunch of Stars money. I think the Stars win this series. I think it's going the full run. I think it's going 7 Stars and 7 for me. And that's the only problem with your Stars pick, is that I think you're going to wind up clipping 2 points here, but I think we wind up even, because like I told you, I think the problem is the winner of this series is going to be beat up and on their way to Denver, and the Avs are going to move on because the Avs are going to have such an easier time in their first round. So I think we both wind up with 2 points and they cancel each other out.
Possibly. You're right. Shouldn't be a first round matchup.
Shouldn't be.
It's unbelievable, actually.
But I'm assuming based on your draft, you'd stick by your Stars pick.
Yes, of course.
Right. The Wild, I see, the problem is I can't get past. I think the Stars will win. That's why I didn't pick the Wild. But the Wild would have been a great pick because they could wind up a 4 and clip up 4 points real quick. And if they ever knocked off the Avs, oh boy, look out. All right, that's the only one to pick in the NHL, Ryan. Stars or Wild or nobody?
I got nothing really on this one. I'm always hopeful of the Stars.
We'll take it as a Stars. All right. I got a bunch here of like parlays and shit. As you guys know, I throw in these future parlays. Jimmy, I got one that I'm interested to hear what you think here. I had it with Rory. So I had a parlay with Rory, right? Winner in. Cam Young, top 5, including ties, in. And there's what I need to finish off 20 to win 600. I need the Hornets to get into the playoffs and the Trailblazers to get into the playoffs. Am I going to hit here?
I got to tell you, I think the Hornets get in. And I would lay the money if you're just betting that game. Look, heat culture, the whole thing. Hornets are playing awesome. It's in Charlotte. They're going to be pumped. I think they win the game by 12. I'd lay the 5.5 with the Hornets. I think you're good there. Blazers is a tough one. Blazers have a host of Drew Holiday and a bunch of people that you don't know their names, can't pronounce them, don't know them. But you got Klingon from UConn, and they have their coach gets arrested for game. I mean, they've got all kinds of shit, and they're just a decent basketball team. It's almost inexplicable. On paper, the Suns should win this game. Devin Booker alone should win this game for the Suns. It's really telling to me that it's only a 3.5 point spread. I would take the Blazers. Yeah, I think you might be happy at the end of this one.
The Blazers. So if the Blazers win, they're in. Hornets win, they still got to win one more, correct, to get in?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I need Charlotte to go 2-0. Blazers can just go 1-1 in the Blazers. So the harder leg I have.
The Blazers don't. So the way it works with the Blazers is if they win this game, they're in. They don't have to play again. Yeah.
Right. But if they lose, they just got to go 1-1.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, absolutely.
All right. So the harder leg for me, obviously, is the Hornets. I got to go 2-0.
I think the Hornets are. It's because the Hornets are gonna. I think the Sixers are gonna get the Magic. I know that Embiid's out, but Maxey and Paul George, like, they're a very good team, and the Magic are good, but I think the Sixers are going to win the game. And then it's. Yeah, I mean, Charlotte, Orlando. I mean, that's my prediction anyway. And Charlotte's been the hotter team in the second half of the year. Why would you lay off it now?
I agree. That's why I bet it. I think they are the hottest team right now. So I like the way Charlotte's playing. So All right. Well, I'm hoping that ticket hits, but here, let's talk about the series that are up. And Ryan, this is why the NBA. It's just I can't. That's why I get in this fight with Jimmy about NHL versus NBA. Maybe it's more from a betting standpoint for me than anything else because I just get annoyed with these
Hey,
lines.
maybe it's more from a betting standpoint.
Maybe, not to be funny, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just like, all right, like it's not fun because these numbers are so crazy. Like I'm not. And maybe that's what draws me into the NHL because I'm going to watch what I have in my money invested in, right? And I've been sucked into the NHL playoffs because you just saw our first series that I brought up for the NHL is 125, 105. We're not getting anything close to that in the NBA.
Well, I gotta say, I think the only home run here is Houston, and it's dropped from 700 to 650 since we started the show somehow, and I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it's because there's enough Lakers fans out there.
Well, is there any chance Luka plays?
There's zero. I don't think there's any
No.
chance Luka or AD plays. I think they're both out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think. I mean,
Really sad because he played 64 games of ridiculous ball.
this is where if we like, let's just look at this for fun. I think you could like the Nuggets series. I think over 5.5 games is a home run at minus 125. I think the T-Wolves take at least 2. And there's no if the Timberwolves win, there's no way they beat them 4-1. And I think the Timberwolves get 2 games off the Nuggets. I think 5.5 is a home run there. I think the Knicks series, same thing. They've got a 5.5. I mean, that I understand. The Rocket series, I take the under 5.5 at minus 105. The Lakers get 1 game at best in that series. It should be 4-1, if not a gentleman's sweep. No questions asked. And then the Cavs Raptors is the same thing. I mean, all these are that 5.5. I don't know. I don't think any of these teams are dominant enough to I would take the over in those 3 and the under in the Rocket series and see what happens. You get kind of even money on all of them. That's a way to make it interesting.
All right. All right, let's just pick the winners. Obviously, you think the Rockets move on.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if you don't agree, but I think the best bet on the board to me, just because it's lower prices, I think the Nuggets move on minus 360. I don't think the Nuggets have a problem here.
I think they do too. They said they lost to Minnesota a couple years back. That was with Cat. Without Cat, they haven't had a huge issue. I think the Nuggets win.
Then we get here to the East. If you had to pick, well, I think you're gonna go chalk with both of these, right?
I'm going to go chalk for the series, but I still think that like the over. I mean, what have the Cavs done in any of these rounds to show you that they should be recently? Right? I know they had a couple good series before, but like I don't know. Atlanta's playing or Toronto's playing excellent basketball. Atlanta's playing excellent basketball. To think these are 4-2 series doesn't seem like out of the realm of possibility.
I think one of these two get knocked off in the first round. I think this is where our first round hiccup comes. I think it's in the East, and I think it's either the Knicks or Cavs go down. So I'm gonna take both Toronto and the Hawks in the money line and hope I come out a couple units ahead here. I'm gonna root my head for like hell for the Raptors at 4-1, but I think one of these two teams is our upset in the first round. Usually we get one, and I think it's gonna come in the East this year. I think it's gonna be one of these two series.
All right.
Ryan, anything here?
No, it's a smart play. It's like Jimmy said, you're always ahead of the game. Like, you're just hedging, and I get it. And I should have done it a couple weeks ago when you told me to do it, because I would have saved $25.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Like I said, that's where I go to the thing. I think these are going to be very competitive series. I've been talking about this for a month, that the East is actually way more intriguing than the West this year.
100%.
And because you've got Atlanta, because you've got Atlanta surging. You've got Charlotte. They may not make it all the way in, but you got Charlotte surging. Toronto's playing really good basketball. I've always said Brandon Ingram is a poor man's Kevin Durant. You've got a lot of things happening in the East right now that could make it very, very interesting. And I don't think you have any road beaters out there. You've got Detroit that plays great defense, but Cade Cunningham's just coming back. The Celtics look like the scariest team there, but Tatum isn't 100% yet. Does that affect them? The Knicks are clearly a flawed team. Cavs cave in the playoffs. And then the back half, they're all on a surge. Like, it should be really exciting.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be a wild Eastern Conference playoff, and I think it'll be a very, very competitive Final Four on both sides. Mm-hmm. I think the West, take out the Rockets, but Nuggets, Spurs, and OKC, I think all have a shot to go to the conference, to go to the finals. And I think the Celtics, Pistons, obviously, and, throw them all in there. It wouldn't surprise me if we were sitting here going, can you believe the Raptors did it again? They're in an NBA final. Like, it wouldn't shock me. The East is.
But that was
I think
that
1 through 6 round. I think the East is open.
Yeah, but that was the one dude, man. I mean, with Lillard, the Celtics are a beast. The Knicks can do it. The Cavs, who knows what's going to happen there? Let's hope, right? I'm
on
all
paper,
for
the
Jimmy
Cavs
Butler.
should be able to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the Pistons are playing incredible defense. They're just kind of young. And in
The-
the West, you talk about the players there. Like, think of the star power. You got Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets, Lakers. Like, and I know the Lakers are beastly hurt right now. Like, but how great would it be if they came back and somehow made it the second round and had one guy come back? It could be a huge difference. And LeBron somehow, is youthful. I don't know.
The scary thing about the Pistons, like we said on previous shows, is how well they've played without Cunningham.
Yeah.
And now they'll get them back.
They're a very good team.
They're going to get them back in a series that matters. And I'll tell you, I think the Celtics win the East, and I think plus 155 is probably a fair number from what we've seen. And Tatum's only going to get better, only going to get healthier. Brown has turned into maybe 1A. He might be the best player on the team. I know everyone leans to Tatum, but I've been saying for a couple of years, like, if Brown's not on that team, they don't have a championship. But
They seem to be the most well-rounded.
The best bet on the board, if you're talking value, is the Pistons at 5-1. I mean, they could easily go to the NBA Finals, everyone. And you're getting 5-1. They're going to have to win 2 tough series. Whoever they get between, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Raptors, or the Hawks, whoever comes in and they get to, and then they're going to have to probably play the Celtics, and they're going to have to. But the thing is, because you look at these odds, Jimmy, right, and you're like, oh shit, well, it runs through Boston. Well, it doesn't run through Boston. It runs through Detroit. Everybody. So home court advantage is Detroit. Let's not forget that. So the Celtics, if it's a long series, the C's might have to close it out in Detroit.
Yeah, not wrong.
And their youth is not afraid. That's another thing.
No, I mean, look, Jimmy hates to hear it, but a couple bad calls last year that don't go Detroit's way. I mean, don't go the Knicks' way against Detroit. Detroit probably wins that series, and we're not even talking about Celtics-Knicks.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought series, and you're probably right, but that happens in every – I mean, there's always calls that you can go either way, so I don't spend a ton of time worrying about it, except for 2002 with Sacramento and L.A. That was a different story. Those calls had a little more to them. Otherwise, there's calls that go both ways. So it is what it is. But, hey, Detroit's owned New York in the regular season. Let's see who shows up in the playoffs, should they meet.
I don't hate that point. I just will point out that although I'm 5 years older than you, which Greg loves to bring up every time, that was 24 years ago. He just referenced, to be clear.
Yeah, but there's a big thing that happened that playoffs, Ryan, and Greg probably remembers.
I do too. I'm just telling you, that was a long time ago. I said, what was it, Santa Clara? Greg was like, Brian, that was 27 years ago.
That was more than that.
That out.
You're talking about
Tim Donaghy got his legs broke for that.
Tim Donaghy did, and Ryan's referencing Santa Clara because of Steve Nash, and that was when me and Jimmy were in 7th grade. So it was a lot more than 27 years at this point. Talking about 32. All right. That's it for this one. We'll be back Thursday. We're going to get Jimmy before he goes away for a little while. We're going to get his NHL picks. Well, we should have that picture coming into form as we're recording. We'll get final NBA picks because the play-in tournament ends, Jimmy? Thursday? So we won't know, or is it Friday?
I believe it's Friday. That's why they all play Sunday.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah, so Friday is the final play-in games. That's why all the play-in teams don't play till Sunday.
It makes sense. But we'll have a better picture. We'll know it's either or, so we can at least give if we think anyone can win a game or two in those 2-7, 1-8 games on Thursday. And like I said, the ones that really matter, the ones that'll have like good odds is the NHL, and we'll give you our picks there because honestly, besides the Avs, I don't think anyone's going to be more than a $2 favorite. I think you might get the Avs up around that 300 mark, maybe 350. But other than that, I think these NHL lines are going to be very intriguing. So we'll see you Thursday. Good luck, everybody, in the play-in tournament. You know who I like. Take Charlotte. Take the Jailblazers. Good luck, everyone.